This afternoon's presentation will be approximately 30 minutes with lots of time after for Q&A and interaction. In fact, we will be turning to you for suggestions to identify fall prevention topics of interest and priorities for collective action. But first, our first presenter for this afternoon is Shamiza Allard. Shamiza is a knowledge coordinator at the Ontario Neurotrauma Foundation, my colleague. She plays a key role in the development, implementation, and evaluation of 3 fall prevention knowledge mobilization programs: the annual Fall Prevention Month campaign and the Fall Prevention Communities of Practice Loop and Loop Junior. Shamiza is a health advocate with Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology and a Master of Public Health. Please welcome Shamiza for her presentation, It Takes a Village to Prevent a Fall, How Loop Helps You Stay Connected and Informed. Go ahead, Shamiza.
Thank you for the intro, Ellen. I'm just going to share my screen. Confirming everyone can see my screen. Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay, so thank you again for the introduction. I'm pleased to be here today to be able to talk about Loop and the Fall Prevention Month campaign. So on today's agenda, we'll be talking about 4 main things. So the first thing I'm going to do is provide you with a Loop overview, some history and a bit of background. Then we're going to talk, I'm going to walk you through the actual platform. And then I'll also be showing you the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network private group. So a bit of a continuation from the earlier session today with Vicky and Ellen. And then I'll be walking you through a bit of an overview of the Fall Prevention Month campaign. And like Loop, I'll be providing a live demonstration of the Fall Prevention Month website, and particularly looking at the population and community specific content, and under that, the Indigenous resources that we have available on the website. So let's dive in. So before we begin, though, I just want to ensure that we have a common understanding of what a community of practice is. So a community, and this is sources from Health Quality Ontario, a community of practice is a group of people who share a concern, a set of problems, or a passion about a topic, and who deepen their knowledge and expertise in the area by interacting on an ongoing basis. So the foundation of a community of practice is really the relationships that form among participants, which then allow participants to learn from each other and share their own knowledge. So within the context of the fall prevention community of practice, I'm going to rework the definition a bit, and it'll be is a group of people who share a concern, a set of problems, or a passion around fall prevention among adults and older adults, and who deepen their knowledge and expertise in this area by interacting on an ongoing basis with each other and the Loop team. So that's situating it within the context of the fall prevention community of practice. So now, with respect to a little bit more about Loop, in 2010, a group of Ontario practitioners collaborated to create a fall prevention community of practice to foster knowledge sharing among members with the ultimate intent of informing practice. Members needed a means to communicate with each other. So in 2015, Loop was actually launched to serve as the bilingual online communication platform of the community of practice. And Loop focuses on fall prevention among adults and older adults. Then over the years, given the success of Loop, Loop Junior was launched in 2018. And as you can probably guess, Loop Junior focuses on fall prevention among children. So Loop provides a space for members across Canada to share information, network, problem solve together, and really discuss how to implement evidence-informed and promising fall prevention practices. And the overarching goal of the community of practice is really to share knowledge. And the intent is sharing knowledge with members on fall prevention across the lifespan with the intent to inform practice. So both Loop and Loop Junior are sponsored by the Ontario Neurotrauma Foundation. Now let's talk a little bit about Loop's members. So Loop has over 1,000 active members. And although most members are from Ontario, members can be found across Canada and more are joining every day. The membership of both of the community of practice includes healthcare workers, policymakers, researchers, advocates, public health practitioners. And you'll see on the fourth bullet there, I've provided some examples of member job titles. So as I've mentioned, Loop is the communication platform of the fall prevention community of practice, and it's actually a free platform to join. And there are numerous benefits to being a member of Loop, and they kind of fall into 4 pillars you'll see here, which are networking, working together, finding answers rather, and building knowledge. So with respect to networking, members can connect with experts, mentors, or collaborators by searching for other members by name, location, or area of expertise. With respect to working together, members can use a variety of features and services of Loop to collaborate on projects with other members, such as private groups, discussion posts, direct messages. With respect to finding answers, members can harness the knowledge of other members to answer their fall prevention questions, and they can also use the Knowledge Center services. And then finally, with respect to building knowledge, members have the opportunity to access numerous learning opportunities and evidence through monthly webinars, bi-weekly newsletters, the Knowledge Center, and an expert knowledge broker. And here are the websites for Loop. So it's fallsloop.com, and the French version is chutzloop.com. So I've sort of already touched on all of the services and features offered by Loop, but I wanted to put them all into one slide, and I will be going through each of these in more detail during the live demonstration that's coming up next. So Loop offers an active discussion board. It has an event calendar, has a member search database, private groups, offers the service of direct messages, Knowledge Center service. There are bi-weekly newsletters, and finally, live and archived webinars, which are actually one of Loop's most popular service. So now I'm going to take the time to walk you through the entire website, and I want to accomplish four main things, which are to provide you with an understanding of how to create an account should you wish to do so, how to log in once you've created an account, how to navigate through Loop, and then finally, I'll be walking you through the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network in a little bit more detail. So I'm just gonna stop sharing there. So this is how Loop looks once you navigate to fallsloop.com. And as a reminder, it is available in French, but for today's purposes, I'm only going to be navigating the website in English. So if you're interested in registering, there's 2 links that you can click on. You can click on the registration button here or here. So let's click there. And so you kind of see this is the page to register, and it's essentially very simple. You really just have to complete the required fields, and the fields fall into 4 primary sections, which are about you, more about you, what you do, and get on the list for our newsletter should you wish to do so. So let's actually just kind of quickly walk through some of those. So you'll see here under about you, you put in the language that you wish to work in, your first name, last name, your email. So here we actually recommend that you use your personal email. Individuals may change jobs, but they may still be interested in being a member of the Loop Fall Prevention Community of Practice. So we recommend using your personal email as it's probably more consistent. Complete your password and the rest of the required fields here. Under more about you, add your LinkedIn profile if you want to do that, or if you have one, upload a profile picture and enter your work email. And this is the email that will be visible to other members through your Loop profile. So actually, before we move on, I just want to point out that all of the information that you provide in this registration form will then be used to populate your Loop profile. So obviously, the more details that you provide, including a profile picture, the easier it will be for other members to connect with you. So that's about you, more about you. Then what you do, you enter the sector that you work in, the area of expertise, your job title, the organization that you work for, and finally, what is the role that you play within your organization. And they're all select that apply options, so you can click on more than one, and if none of them fit, you can enter them into these boxes for other options. And then finally, get on the list for our newsletter. It's bi-weekly newsletters that are sent out on various hot topics and events that are occurring. So once you've completed that, you click sign me up. And then once registered, you will be redirected to the Loop homepage. And once you're logged into Loop, you can edit your profile at any point in time. And keep in mind, only registered members will be able to view your profile. So no member of the public will be able to view it, just rather other Loop members. Oh, so now we're ready to log in. So once you have all of your credentials, you just put them in here and you click enter Loop. And that's how you log in. And it'll take you to the Loop homepage like this. So from here, you have access to basically all of Loop's content. I'll just show you, and I'll be walking you through each one of these blocks. So this is your profile box, and your profile box contains personal profile information. And again, it can be updated and changed at any time. So to view your profile, you click view profile. And as a reminder, all the information that you inputted in the registration form will be used to populate your Loop profile. So the more you put, the more it'll show up. And you could click here to edit your profile at any point in time. Moving on to private groups. So private groups are collaborative, click learn more. So private groups are collaborative spaces for members to share information that's only visible to members of that particular group. And as I mentioned before, we'll be going into detail about the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network. So I've reserved that to the end, but I just wanted to show you this page. So we'll come back to that. Webinars, so let's click on webinars here. So Loop offers regular webinars on diverse fall prevention topics throughout the entire year, and all webinars are recorded and archived. So Loop does have a YouTube channel where all webinars are archived. So you can click on the YouTube channel link here. And this is the last 3 webinars that Loop has hosted. But if you want to see a list of all of our archived webinars, you click here. And this will provide you with a list of all of the archived webinars, the YouTube link, the PDF slide deck, and any other information that has been shared by presenters. So as I had mentioned before, webinars are actually one of Loop's most popular services, and members do really enjoy them. So let's go back home, and we're going to now switch gears to talk about the Knowledge Center. So you click Learn More. The Knowledge Center provides evidence-based fall prevention information, and members can submit a request to our knowledge broker for fall prevention information. So they just have to complete a request for information form with the information that they want. And then once completed, our knowledge broker will get in touch with you to complete that request. Alternatively, members can also browse through our collection of knowledge products by clicking here. So view knowledge products. And our knowledge broker summarizes evidence and information from questions that are asked by Loop into an easy to use document. And these are what our knowledge products are. So most recently, we actually completed an evidence summary on fall prevention frameworks. And there are numerous other knowledge products found throughout this page here. So let's go back home. So now we're going to talk about the active discussion board. So this discussion board allows you to view past and active discussions on, basically anything that members post. And if you want to browse through all of the discussions, you click Browse All. And you can kind of peruse through. But say you had a particular topic in mind and you had a question that's just like, okay, I don't want to go through all of the list of this. I have a question and I want to answer to it. So you can type it into the search box. So you say, you're looking for a particular framework to inform some of your work. So let's put in the word framework here. And you click search. And this will populate all of the discussions that have used the keyword framework. So it's easier to obviously go through these than the entire list of all discussions. But then say you went through all of the search results and none of them really still answer your question. So that's when you'll click Start a Discussion. You enter the question that you have or the discussion topic, some background information, the language that it'll be in, and some keywords to the discussion. And you obviously providing as much information as possible. And then once you click submit, it'll then be uploaded into the active discussion board and other members can view it and comment on it. So that's the discussion board. The next thing I wanted to talk about was member search. So say you're looking for a particular member or you want to connect with them and you know their name, you can simply just type in their name into the search bar here and click search. But say you're actually looking for someone working in a particular sector who has a particular area of expertise, you click browse all members. And this will provide you with our membership database of everyone who's on Loop. There's more than 20 pages, so I don't recommend going through each one. I'd actually recommend using the filter on the left-hand side of this page to refine your search. So say you're looking for someone who works in rehabilitation. You can choose, whichever sector, the area of expertise, the language that they work in, let's say English today. And we're looking for somebody who works in the territories. So let's select all of our territories. And then you click update results. So now you have a list of all of Loop's members who work in rehabilitation or who have actually mentioned the word rehabilitation in their profile rather, and who are from the territories. And if you're interested in any one of these, you click view profile or you can message them. So this really drives home the fact of the more you put in your profile, the easier it will be for other members to connect with you. So that's the membership database. And then the final thing that I wanted to talk about was our event calendar. So here you'll see the two most upcoming events. But if you want to view the full event calendar, you click view full calendar. And this will allow you to see all upcoming events and webinars for the month that we're in. And you can go through other months as well. You'll see here, it's a busy month, so lots happening. But say you're actually hosting an event and you want to submit your event to Loop. So you click planning an event, submit it to Loop, to the Loop calendar, and you complete this red form here with all of the required fields. Click submit event. And so long as the event has a fall prevention lens, it will be uploaded to the Loop event calendar. So actually the last thing that I wanted to show you before we move on to the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network was just a general search. So before we searched the word framework and we were able to see all of the discussions that mention that keyword, but what if we wanted to see everything on Loop that mentions that keyword? So the search is the same search, but I just didn't show you everything before. Now I will. So here you'll see this member actually mentions the word framework in their profile. That's why they popped up. These are all the discussions that mention the word framework. Currently, there's no events that mention, but if it did, it would show up here. And here are 2 knowledge products that mention the word framework. So it's a pretty neat feature that allows you to see everything all at once using that, any particular keyword. So now we're going to finally move into the private groups. So private groups are collaborative spaces for members to share information that's only visible to members of that particular group. And it really does make working together online easy and efficient. So with respect to the Loop private groups, you can either create your own private group. You just have to contact our admin team to set one of the private groups up, or you can join one of Loop's open private groups. So the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network is an example of an open group where anyone can join upon request. And for those who actually weren't in the session earlier today, this is a space for members of the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network to share information, ask questions, discuss issues relevant to fall prevention among Indigenous populations. So if you're interested in joining, you click request to join. The admin team will receive this request and will approve it and will add you to the private group and will also share any of the upcoming meeting invitations with you as well. So I am actually a member of the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network. So I'm going to scroll down and this is a list of all of the private groups that I'm part of. So I'm just going to click view private group here. And this is how the private group looks. I have admin privileges, so it looks a little bit different, but for the most part, it should be pretty similar. And this will allow you to see the list of all members who are currently a member of the network. A lot of members, you'll see. And here's the description for the group and some of the objectives that we have in terms of what we can do together as a network. We're hoping to share existing fall prevention resources, helping to develop resources to address gaps in fall prevention among Indigenous communities across Canada, particularly adults and older adults. And then finally, influencing and informing policy and tackling emerging fall prevention issues within these communities as well. So that's sort of what we've cobbled together in terms of what we hope we can do as a network. If you're interested in messaging the group, you click here, you can message the group. If you want to create a workspace, you click here. Or if you want to create a discussion post, you click here. So workspaces are essentially, it allows for storing files and documents in one place, sort of like a file folder. And currently, these are all of our existing workspaces available in the network. And again, everyone is allowed to view, create, edit. Everybody has equal rights to editing in the group. So let's look at actually a recent workspace, which is agendas and minutes. So here's where we store all of our agendas and minutes for their group. And actually one that I recently updated today actually was the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network resources. And what I did was I uploaded the presentation from the earlier session with Vicky and Ellen on the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network, the presentation. So again, everyone has the ability to upload and edit the workspaces. And here are some other resources that have been posted by Vicky. So that's basically workspaces. And again, you're more than welcome to request to join to browse through all that's available. There's quite a few resources that are available within this network in each of these workspaces. Moving on to discussions. So the discussion board allows for simple and open communication between group members, and anyone can view or create a discussion, and they can also comment. So as you can remember earlier on when I was showing you the main Loop homepage, there's an active discussion board there. This is different from that because this is unique specifically only to this group. So only members of this group, private group, will be able to see all of the discussions that are posted here. So let's just quickly look at one of the discussions. This is one that I posted about a fall prevention program for elders, and a Loop member actually, a private group member also commented on it. So a lot of flexibility with this group. And I would say it's a very helpful feature for the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network, as it provides a platform for members to really connect with each other and share their fall prevention knowledge with each other. So that basically brings my tutorial of Loop to an end. I'm gonna stop sharing and switch back to the presentation. Excuse me. So you'll see here that I talked about how to create an account for Loop, how to log in, how to navigate through Loop, and I talked about the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network in a little bit more detail. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the Fall Prevention Month campaign. So this is a call to action campaign that encourages Canadians to come together to deploy fall prevention efforts in November of every year since 2015. And it allows for a coordinated and larger impact when everybody comes together. So it is currently Fall Prevention Month, so happy Fall Prevention Month. So if individuals wanted to, participate, they can do so by planning activities, sharing evidence-based information, promoting the campaign, promoting their activity or event, all really aimed at raising awareness of falls and fall-related injuries. And for the first time, this year's campaign is following a theme, which is Be Ready, Be Steady. And it focuses on Canadians' role in preventing falls through preparation and acting on known risk factors for both children and older adults. And the website for the Fall Prevention Month, it's right here, fallpreventionmonth.ca, and it's also available in French. So like the Loop demonstration, I'm now also going to be providing a live demo of the Fall Prevention Month website. And what I'm going to really walk you through are the activities, promotional materials, and the additional resources tabs, and what those mean. I'll be walking you through some of our population and community specific content and what are some examples of those. So I'm gonna stop share again. So this is the Fall Prevention Month website. As I mentioned before, it is a bilingual website, and it provides free resources to help organizations take action to prevent falls. And on the website, there are resources related to adult fall prevention and children fall prevention. And then the resources are actually divided into activities, and you'll see here it's broken again into adult, children, promotional materials, and additional resources. So some resources are mirrored on the English side, and some are available in just French and just in English. But again, for today's purposes, I'm only going to be navigating the website in English. So now, with respect to activities, ideas for activities are provided to help people in planning their own activities or events. And as I say, it's broken into adults and children. So I'll just quickly show you some of the children resources. So these are some examples of activities that you can host for children. And let's move into adults. So the website is organized according to an accordion style layout, and all of the themes are listed here. So you just open whichever ones you're interested in looking at. Helps with controlling the overwhelmingness of some of the resources, because there are quite a few. So we have some under active living, educational and professional staff. We also have the population and community specific content, and these are what I'm going to be talking about in a little while. So those are our activities. Moving into promotional materials. Promotional materials are resources that can help organizations or individuals promote their own activity or event or the campaign itself. So this section here were ideas for activities, and this section here is about how to promote those. So the children and adult side actually is mirrored for this section, so it doesn't matter which one you go to. Let's go to adults. And then you'll see here some of the resources. These are resources that Fall Prevention Month actually developed. And here are some of our communication resources. So given that it is currently Fall Prevention Month, I thought I would show you some of our social media resources. So we have a social media guide that can really walk you through how to build an online presence and really take your social media to the next level. So feel free to take a look at that guide. We also have easy to share sample posts. So this document, essentially, I'll quickly show you. We have basically all sorts of just posts that you can just copy paste, and there's a Word doc version as well, and you could just post into your social media. Moving on, we also have some tip sheets on a variety of topics related to social media. So how to use hashtags, social media best practices, how to use Instagram stories and Facebook Live. And finally, I wanted to draw your attention to some of our social media graphics that are formatted for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you just browse through the collection of social media graphics. I'll quickly zoom in here. You click on one that you're interested in. You click Save As, download it to your computer, and then you could share it on social media platform. So I just wanted to show you the social media resources. So those are the promotional materials that can help you, again, promote your activity or event or the campaign itself. And then we'll move on to additional resources. So additional resources are materials that have been developed by external organizations, and they provide information on a variety of fall prevention topics. And again, like the other ones, they're broken into adults and children. So you can find information for practitioners, information for parents and caregivers, information about risky play, and information about statistics and infographics as it relates to falls in children. With respect to the adult campaign, you can find information about for older adults and caregivers, information for practitioner resources, and statistics and infographics as it relates to falls in adults and older adults. So we'll just click on one of these as an example. Again, it's organized by theme. So say you're looking for some portals or communities of practice, teasers are some examples that we recommend. If you're looking for guides, guidelines, and reports, Here are some that we recommend. And then again, here are the population and community specific content, and I'll be walking you through these in a little later as well. So that's pretty much the gist of the activities, the promotional materials, and additional resources. So now I'm going to be talking about the population and community specific content. And I'm going to actually use an example from the activities to talk about. So we're here. And how I navigated there was just clicking activities, going to adults, and opening up the population and community specific content tab. So to appropriately showcase our population and community specific content, including content for and by Indigenous populations, we developed this section. A tag was also created to help locate these resources easily. So a tag meaning, a tag meaning population and community specific content. So each one of these has this tag. And once you click on it, you'll see all of the resources that we have that fall under that particular content for Indigenous populations. So we did reach out to people and organizations we know for more Indigenous content, and we've been provided with quite a few great resources. But obviously, we are hoping more people come forward and share more resources with us so we can have actually more to share with you. So the resources that we have are obviously a work in progress, but we're hoping that we have more and more people come forward and share more with us. So we'll have more for future campaigns. And while the resources were developed with the needs of certain populations in mind, they're not necessarily meant to be used exclusively by any one population. All are welcome to draw inspiration from these resources to plan their own Fall Prevention Month activity or event. So this is primarily why you'll see resources that are available in this subgroup, but also in others. So for example, the Safe Elders and Bingo game, it can be found in this subgroup, but also in social activities and games. So we wanted to ensure that it was inclusive as possible and that it was open to anyone to use these resources. So that's essentially what these population and community specific content are. And now I'm going to walk you through some examples. I'm not going to give you a detailed explanation of each, but at least you'll have an understanding of where you can go to locate these resources should you wish to do so. So I'm going to start over from scratch and go back to the home page and navigate to activities. And we're going to click on adults. And again, this is going to open up the population community specific content. So I'm going to look at the Safe Elders and Bingo game. And this is actually a great way to raise awareness among elders about the different types of risk factors for falls. And all of the questions are related to fall prevention in the bingo game. And actually earlier today during Dr. Vicky Scott's presentation, she talked about running this activity with a group, and it was a total blast for the members. So a great activity to run to engage elders. And so we have information about the contact, type of activity, the target audience, the cost, the timeline for the activity, the objectives, what you would need to do if you needed to set it up. And then you can download all materials from the Safe for Elders website. And then we've also provided suggested steps, action steps to host the activities. So this is the actions steps that you would have to take. And new this year is some steps that you would take if you wanted to run it in a virtual setting. Say, for example, you wanted to host a webinar and have participants play along with it, or just promoting it. It's also another way of running the activity in a virtual setting. So these are some steps that we've provided, and if the activity can be run in a virtual setting, these steps are included for all of the activities. So that's an example of an Indigenous resource or an activity rather that can be run with Indigenous population. We're moving on to promotional materials now. So those were activities. These are promotional materials. So the first one that I wanted to draw your attention to was these build your own event poster. So these posters were created to help individuals advertise their Fall Prevention Month activity or event. They're essentially Word doc templates that can be edited to include any of the details of the event. You just download them, insert your details, and you could share them through digital or print means. And last year, with input from the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network, this poster was actually developed, and you'll see that the graphic is, I'll try to zoom in a little bit. You'll see that the graphic is slightly different to ensure cultural appropriateness. And again, it was developed with input from the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network. So that's the Build Your Own poster. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is the Fact Bank. So the Fact Bank outlines provincial, national, and global fall-specific data and sources. And this year's, I'm actually going to show you just quickly how that looks. Let's scroll through a little bit. So you'll see that the statistics are located on the left-hand side and the accompanying sources on the right-hand side, and the links are provided as well. So we went ahead and reviewed all of these sources and extracted the most applicable fall statistics. And this year, the Fact Bank also includes data pertaining to Indigenous populations throughout the document. So let's look at British Columbia, for example. We'll see here that there is a statistic from George et al. From their paper. I'm going to pose it across from injury risks are consistently higher among Indigenous populations than among the total populations of health service delivery areas in British Columbia. And then you can choose to check that out and click on the link if you wanted more information. This year, we've also included a section about the Northwest Territories based on data that was provided to us. And again, all of the statistics are located on the left-hand side and the accompanying sources on the right. So this document can be a very useful document when creating materials to inform or promote fall prevention in practitioners' communities. And it really helps people just really grab and pull the relevant statistics to their needs. So that's the Fact Bank. And now I'll walk you through the newsletter archive. So throughout the entire campaign, newsletters are released on a variety of topics. So information about activities, how to host an activity, how to promote an activity, how to engage the media. So a variety of topics. And on September 22nd, we actually released the population and community specific resources. So this page actually is all of the archived newsletters if you hadn't signed up. Now, what I just wanted to show you with this newsletter is it outlines basically everything that I'm talking about here and more. So it has all of the links, it has descriptions. So if you're looking for more information after this presentation, you're welcome to check out this newsletter as it outlines all of the information that's available with respect to population and community specific content resources. And you'll see some in French as well. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention if you wanted more information. So far we've talked about the activities, we've talked about promotional materials, and finally, we're going to talk about some additional resources. So let's go into adults. And so we have a few resources in the information for older adults and caregivers, some information in practitioner resources, and we have the Fact Bank in statistics and infographics. So let's look at the information for older adults and caregivers. We're going to open up the population community specific content. And we have the website, the Safe for Elders, Safe for All, and this is where the bingo game came from. But we thought it would be important to also include the website as there are some other great resources there. Moving on to practitioner resources. We have an elder exercise video and videos and leader training. And we also have a systematic review on falls and fall prevention among older Indigenous people of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United States. So those are two resources that are available in this section. With respect to the children's side, we have one resource available under population and community specific content. And it's actually a position paper by the Canadian Pediatric Society. I'm just going to open that up here. So this position paper discusses unintentional injuries in Canadian Indigenous children and youth, the injury mechanisms, and recommendations for reducing the rate and severity of these injuries. And I wanted to point this out also because it is available in French. Yep. So you can take a look at that as well. So that basically wraps up pretty much everything with respect to the Fall Prevention Month. And I'm gonna just stop sharing my screen and head back over to the presentation. So I walked you through the activities, the promotional materials, the additional resources, what those are, what are some examples. Then we also looked at the population community specific content, particularly Indigenous resources, and I provided some examples of those, and I did 2 detailed explanation of the bingo and the position paper by the Canadian Pediatric Society. So obviously that was a lot of information condensed into about 40 minutes. So if you are looking for more information, or if you ever wanted to learn more, you can contact the Loop team consisting of myself. So my email is here. Hélène, the program director, her email's there, and Marguerite, the consultant and liaison, her email's there. So that takes my presentation to an end. Thank you for listening, and feel free to add your questions into the Q&A box.
Thank you, Shamiza. Any questions? I know that it was a lot of content for people online. So any comments or suggestions, by the way, because as you recall, Shamiza not only mentioned what is available, but what else would you like to see available, that particularly as it relates possibly to Indigenous communities, and if you are aware of Indigenous resources that may need to be featured. We're happy to hear about it. So you have questions or comments, suggestions? Looking at the names, I don't necessarily recognize everybody, so I'm sure that there's room for joining the Loop Community of Practice and the Indigenous Fall Prevention Network. We'd be happy to hear from you. I'll give it another minute. Any questions for Shamiza?
So I actually see a few in the chat box. So I see is Vicky's presentation from this morning on the sale posted in the Loop Indigenous group. I do believe that Hélène, you are part of the committee, so you can probably answer this better than me, but I know probably Parachute will be posting that. Yes. And then with Vicky's permission, if she's interested in posting it, she'd be more than happy to, again, with her permission, into the Indigenous network. But I did post the one from Kathy that Hélène presented on in the network already.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, I think that Vicky mentioned this morning that they were reviewing some of it, and because to receive the training on sale and the information, some of the information is to purchase. So not everything is available, but what she could post, she has posted on the Indigenous network. Any other questions?
So I know there was also another question about posting information, our emails, into the chat box, and I was just having a bit of difficulty doing that. So I'll post mine, and if you wanted to put yours in.
Yeah, what I've been told, and please do so, Shamiza, I'm not sure that people can cut and paste. Let us know once it's there, if you can cut and paste it from the chat box.
So I've put in mine.
Okay, and I want to just mention that we do have another team member who's Allison Sterling, who's the knowledge broker, but to connect with Allison, you either have to be a Loop member or make a request for information for Allison.
And I did want to point out that, again, I understand that a lot of information was covered in this session, but in the chat box, I'll also be posting a link to some of our tutorial videos that have been developed earlier this year in collaboration with some students, and did an excellent job in really outlining. There was 5 videos, a promotional video and a few others outlining some of the services and features that I covered in a lot more detail in the video. So I'll be posting those links in the chat box as well.
And just a quick little thing that was not mentioned that I saw on Shamiza's page is that we are partnering with the McMaster Optimal Aging Portal. So there's a feed on the, once you become a member, there's a feed whereby you can see the evidence that's been released lately on fall prevention that they feature on their database. And so we get that bit of a feed on Loop. So that's an agreement that we have with McMaster Optimal Aging Portal.
Great, and I see another question from Stephanie that's explaining if I can explain about joining Loop and Loop Junior as they're separate. Yeah, absolutely. So if you are, actually, I'll show you my screen. I'll do you one better. So before I answer that question, these are the tutorial videos that I was talking about if you want to access them, and I've put the link in the chat box. But essentially you navigate to fallsloop.com, you click on About, you go to Loop tutorial videos, and here are the list of videos, and they're also available in English and French. So you just toggle back and forth between the website. But with respect to Stephanie's question, if you're a member of Loop, unfortunately, I can't show you properly because I'm a member of both. But if you are a member of Loop and you want to join Loop Junior, you just click on the button at the top here, and it's like a pop-up that shows up on the next page that essentially just asks you to fill out some details. And then you can, once you're done that, you can toggle back and forth between the 2 parts of the website. So my apologies, I didn't show that earlier. But you can view Loop Junior from just logging into Loop, and vice versa. You can view Loop from just logging into Loop Junior just through that one-time registration. And also here, just in terms of some quick links, you can see the Fall Prevention Month website and the YouTube channel for Loop. So thanks, Stephanie, for that reminder.
Great. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Shamiza. And this concludes day 4 of the Canadian Fall Prevention Virtual Conference. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation. So please remember to complete the post-presentation survey. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at noon Eastern Time for kicking off the final day of the conference.